Hi, so we are back. It's almost the end of February. This might go up beginning of March, but we're like, let's say the 26th. Anyways, it is time for this month's knitting podcast. Hi, I'm Cease, and this is Thanks I Made It, by the way. So I have a few finished objects, a few whips, you know, the works, and then I'm also gonna do a little book review at the end because I have been eating up audiobooks lately. But yeah, let's get into it. You want to see the finished objects first? So if you saw last month's knitting podcast, I had just swatched for this. It is the cat ear or devil horn bonnet by Ugly Babies. And I did buy the pattern that comes with the human size and the cat size pattern. So I still have to make the one for my cat, but I finished this. It was a lot of fun to knit. It took me like 3 days, including having to frog a bit because I don't know how to count. But yeah, I used Barocco ultra chunky alpaca, something like that. It is the chunky of the ultra alpacas. So it was a little bit off gauge, or like the yarn weight was bigger than what was recommended in the pattern, but I went down, I think, half a needle size. And it turned out, it like fits perfectly. So that is very exciting. I've been wearing this every day. It is so warm and perfect and comfy and whimsical. I'll put it on for you. But I feel so cute when I wear it. I did make the ties a little bit longer. I saw that someone else had done that as well. I think it's supposed to be like 50, you cast on 50 stitches for each side for the ties, but they did 75 so that you can tie it in a bow. So I did the same thing because I wanted to be able to tie it in a bow. And it's so cute. I love it so much. I wear it every day. And I have a little black cat. She's hiding under here right now, so maybe she will come out and you will get to see her. But yeah, so I'm cosplaying my cat now, and I love it so much. So this is the first thing I finished. Let's see. The next thing I finished that I mentioned in last month's podcast episode was the Ribka pouch by Rat and Sea Witch, and I did finish it. It is super cute. I think I made it ever so slightly too big, just like a little bit too long, but it's gonna hold my hand sanitizer and it will fit that and sit on my purse. So you knit it flat, you knit each side, and then you fit that a little too tight. So you knit it flat and then you crochet around the edge to seam them together, and so the lip down to create the channel. I did make the lip a little bit shorter, like I folded it more than what the pattern says just so I could make up for accidentally having made it too long. But it's super cute. I-cord tie. Love it. I might put like a little bead eye on it, which would be super cute. What yarn did I use for this? I know the red is Cascade Alpaca Lace, which it's like the Merlot variegated colorway. And then the green is, I believe, Blue Sky Fibers. Okay. After sitting and pondering, I don't remember what it is. It's from Stash. I used it to knit, I think it's the Beret #1 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. And I think it's Blue Sky Fiber, but I might be wrong on that. But it is a sport weight 100% wool. So this, I still have a lot of it left in the ball, so that is back in my stash now. But yeah, that is my little Ribka pouch. I actually finished it a while ago and had just like the ends on the I-cords sticking out, and like that was the last thing I needed to do, and I just clipped that off, so now it's usable. But I don't know why I didn't do that 2 weeks ago when I actually finished it. Okay, and then the last of the finished objects is the red hat. This is based on a hat that the Norwegians, I believe, made in war during World War II to protest the Nazi invasion. So a lot of people are knitting them now, and the funds, the profit from paying for this pattern goes to the Minnesota Immigration Defense Center. Not the actual name of it, I think I messed that up, but you get the gist of it. So this is the first one I made. This one will be going to my sister. I'm gonna make another one for my brother, and then another one for myself. But this was made with my Ride or Die Cascade 220, and I have a lot of it left. This one is like a variegated, don't know if you can tell. It's got a little bit of variation in it, from like darker to lighter red, but very subtle. I'll just show you the other one now instead of doing it separate acquisitions, because this is the only thing I have. This is the one ball I got for my brother's hat, also Cascade 220. This one's just like a flat red. So there's quite a bit left. Oh, okay. Throwing scraps around. So there's quite a bit left over. I might do like a striped between the two, or like helical knitting or something, to make mine with the scraps, or just buy a new ball to make mine and use these for a different project I have in mind for a bunch of Cascade 220 scraps that I have. But yeah, so that's these. It is a little bit small, so the pattern is written for, you can use fingering, DK, or worsted weight, and it gives like cast on stitches for each weight, and then like a different needle size. So this is Cascade 220 is a DK leaning worsted. So I cast on for the DK, but it's feeling a little bit small. So I think for my brother's hat, I'm probably going to cast on for the the fingering weight, because he's got a bigger head. My sister also has a bigger head, just because she has a lot more hair than I do. So I'm hoping this will fit her. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it turns out. But yeah, so I'm going to cast on another one of those today. I think I'm going to a protest that my local yarn shop is putting on. We're all going to be knitting and wearing the red hats. So going to that later today. I'm going to be wearing this one before I send it off to my sister with the rest of her birthday presents, which are very late. But yes, that is that. So that is all my finished objects. Whips. I will start with the most exciting one, which was a finished object for a bit. I cast it off, I blocked it and everything, and then I realized the sleeves are too short. So I'm just going back and adding 7 more rows to each sleeve. I'm almost done with the first one. I have 2 more rows before binding off, and then just going back and finishing the other one. So get that done tonight. Obviously won't reblock the entire sweater, but I'm gonna just like wet the ends of the sleeves and lay it out to dry, because you can like really see, I don't know if it will show up on camera, but like you can see the bits that weren't blocked versus where like it's so much fluffier where it has been blocked. It's just kind of funny to me. So almost done with this finally. I cast this one on, I think end of November, maybe early December. And it's really been taking a while. To be fair, I didn't knit on it for like 3 weeks in January, but almost done. So excited to wear it. And yeah, it is Valley Yarns alpaca, which I think is a Webb's brand yarn. In this brown with like flecks of red and green. And then the cables are like emulating bark texture. This is my own design, something I am self-drafting, and a lot of people have asked me if there's a pattern for it, so I think I'm gonna do a second sample over the summer and write up a pattern for that, maybe? It's very scary to like think about all the numbers involved with size grading, so I just need to sit down and do it, and I'm sure it won't be that hard. But yeah, that is this. So possibility of a pattern coming out in the fall / next winter. This is almost done and I'm so excited to wear it. My next whip is my Kitten Catch mittens. If you did watch last month's, you'll know I was knitting this on DPNs and my floats were like pulling too tight and puckering, and just like the color work was not looking great. Also, the DPNs were a 2.5 millimeter, which is what was recommended by the pattern. And it was gonna be way too big for my hand. I got teensy tiny little hands. So I went back, I got 2 millimeter circulars, and so I'm doing it magic loop like the pattern recommends, being a good little noodle, actually following the pattern. And the color work is, oh my god, it's so cute. It's so cute. The color work is turning out so much better now. So I just have this cat left, and then I'm gonna start shaping for the top of the fingers in like 5 rows, I think. But yeah, almost done. There are a few little mistakes in the color work, which I might go back and just like duplicate stitch over the little mistakes at the end. But tell me if you notice where they are, and then I'll do that. If you can't tell where the mistakes are, then I'm not gonna bother, because only I will know. But it's so cute. It's so cute. This is, so the black is Lana Gato VIP, which is is it 100% cashmere? It's 80% merino, 20% cashmere. And Blue Sky, the like salmony pink orangey color, is Blue Sky alpaca silk. They're both a sport weight, and yeah, super soft, and I'm so excited. The black was left over from a scarf I made that looks like my cat, so I'm just collecting all of the cat themed accessories. I've got my hat, my scarf, and now working on the gloves. Yeah, so this has been so fun to knit on. I've been just like working on it all week whenever I get a chance. My brain loves the color work chart. It is so fun. And then here's the palm side of it. Super, super cute. So hopefully gonna finish this, at least the hand, because it's only like 20 more rows, I think, to finish the hand. At least that this week, maybe. But yeah. And then one other thing, I did forget to mention this in last week's podcast because I was trying to just like show off everything that was on my needles, but I forgot about this one because I put it in a drawer so my cat wouldn't eat the yarn. But this was something I cast on last year, I think October-ish. And if you don't know, cats really love wool. They love the smell of lanolin. So my cat, whenever I'm blocking something, she will just roll around on it, and she loves to lay on any of my woolen knits. So I'm just knitting this little blanket for her. I believe the pattern I'm using is the Traveler's blanket. Let me double check that. Okay, sorry if the angle's different. I had to check my phone. It's the Excavation blanket, which is the pattern I'm following, which is meant for scraps, and they're not scraps. I just have these 2 balls of yarn that were in stash, and using that to work on this. So I did add like maybe 10 rows to it this week, just because I needed something super mindless to work on when I was feeling super dead after work. But yeah, the garter stitch is super nice, and I love the texture and how plush garter stitch is. I wish you could like feel it because it's so soft. It's such a good texture. Yeah, the yarn is Lana's Light by Barocco. So this will eventually be a little blanket for my cat, but this is very, very back shelf. Not worrying about finishing it anytime soon. It's just when I remember I have it and need something super mindless to work on. One thing I do wish that I had done before starting it, so when you like start a new color, you're supposed to leave this little tassel to tie off, and it's supposed to be like a little tassel-y edge to the blanket, which at first I was cutting and tying as I went, and then I was like, no, I'm just gonna loop it and come back and tie them all at once. And then I realized my cat likes nibbling on yarn ends, so it's probably not a good idea to have any, so I'm gonna like tie it off and then cut the yarn ends pretty short. But now I'm like, why didn't I just carry it close along the edge to the next line? Like, it's only 2 rows that I'm skipping. I should have done that from the beginning, but it's too late now. So yeah, but this will be cute and cozy for her. Let's see, that is all of my current whips, I believe. I hope I'm not forgetting anything, but I'm going yarn shopping later today. Finally got my paycheck from my second job, so I can go pick up yarn today and start on a cardigan that I have been thinking about for a very long time. So this morning I was working on some of the color work for that. And yeah, and my inspiration for that was from this book, which I used to, last year I was taking an art class, a colored pencil class, and one of the ladies there had a bunch of art, like fiber art stuff, as well as like books like this from her grandparents that she was just trying to clean out and get rid of. So she gave me like a lot of stuff, which was really awesome. So this was one of the books, and it's just full of all of these like folk art designs, and it's so cool. I am so happy to have this. I'm definitely going to use it to paint my dresser in one of the designs at some point, but also just for inspiration for making some color work charts. Super, super awesome, and I'm so excited to get swatching on that so I can know if the chart I made will work. But yes, gonna pick up yarn for that later today, and I'm very excited. Okay, I think that's all the yarny things that I wanted to talk about. We're gonna talk about books really quick. I'll start with this one because this is one I'm currently reading. Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil. This is the only physical book I'm reading, which is why it's taking me so long. I started it in September of last year, got like a third of the way done, and put it down for like several months, and my brain was like, I cannot chill out for long enough to be able to read a sentence, so I wasn't able to like read it for a few months, and then last weekend I picked it up and read another third of it, and it's so good. It's lesbian vampires and follows 3 different characters through different periods of time, and they all connect towards the end. and I'm really enjoying it. I love a sapphic vampire book. I love a book that goes through women's anger and all of that, so very much enjoying this, and the aesthetic of it is very spooky and good and very inspiring for some art. Like, I've been doing a bit of watercolor painting recently, and this has inspired some of the stuff that I've done. So pick this back up, hopefully going to have some time to read a bit more of this weekend, because I would like to actually finish it because it deserves it. The next books, all audiobooks that I've been reading, listening to, are, surprise, surprise, Heated Rivalry. I am obsessed with this show. I have seen the show 3 times. I'm reading through the books. I've read the first 3 books. I really love, so I read Heated Rivalry, which is the second book. I really love that. That was so good, and reading that before watching the show gives a lot more context, and like, you can really see the emotion behind and like what the characters are thinking behind actions in the show. And I think the show was so well done, and I usually really dislike adaptations. Like, I think they change too much or leave too much out, but they did such a good job. And watching interviews from Connor and Hudson, where they like read the book and really like took the characters into consideration when portraying them, you can really see that they like really paid attention, and it's so good, and I can't stop thinking about it. This has been my hyperfixation for like 3 weeks now, and I am so obsessed, and I sob every time I watch it. And I just heard that Long Game, which is the second book in the series with Ilya and Shane, I wanted to say Hudson, that one, it like dives more into the emotional like toll that being closeted and hiding your relationship has on you. And I'm like, oh my god, Heated Rivalry has already wrecked me, had me sobbing over that. I don't know, I gotta be like up my therapy sessions when I finally read Long Game. But my hold is several months out still on Libby before I can get around to actually reading that. But yeah, so really love Heated Rivalry. I did really love, and then I watched the show. The 3rd episode is based on Game Changers, which is the first book in the series. So I'd seen the episode before reading the book in that case, whereas book first and then watching the show for Heated Rivalry. But I really loved Game Changers. Definitely not quite as like enticing of a plot, just because I'm an enemies to lovers girly through and through. What can I say? But the like emotions of being forced back into a closet by your partner, so rough and hard, and the way that they adapted it into one 45-minute episode and did it so much justice. I love this show so much. I love it so much. Yeah, and then the 3rd book, Tough Guy. This one was definitely the least interesting. The plot was pretty slow. I was kind of like on and off with liking the main characters of it. I did like the main character mostly, like the hockey player of the main character. Hockey player main character. Hopefully I'm making sense. Sometimes when I talk about Heated Rivalry, I just like foaming at the mouth, bark, 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 can't make coherent sentences. So anyways, the main character was, I enjoyed him and felt it was pretty relatable. And then the main love interest like, I kind of got annoyed with him. It definitely, like, all these books while reading them, I'm like shouting and like yelling at the characters in the book, like, no, don't do that, etc., whatever. But yeah, this one just wasn't as good. I see why a lot of people skip it when reading through them, but like, very happy that I read it, to just get that context. There's some good little pop-ups of Ilya in there, but very short, but still pretty good. Definitely the least enticing, intriguing of them, and yeah, if you wanted to skip it, I would not be offended. But yeah, that is that. I'm waiting on the other books to become available on Libby, although I'm very tempted to just go and buy them, but I don't quite have book money and yarn money at the moment, so I need to decide which is more important to me. And I think I want to listen to the audiobook. If I really love it, then I'm going to go buy it. If it's something that I will reread, then I will buy a physical copy of it. Yeah. And then the last book that I've been reading is, I listened to The Hunger Games this week. And so I read it in middle school. I think I reread it in high school, but it's been like over a decade since I've read it. I forgot how good The Hunger Games is. Oh my goodness. The writing was so good. The story is so good. Like, obviously, having known the whole story now, being able to be like, oh my god, is this like foreshadowing, blah blah blah. It's so good. I definitely cried when Rue died again, like oh my gosh. So waiting for, what's the second one, Catching Fire, to become available. That should hopefully be available by the time I go back to work next week. But really love that, and I just wanted to reread them because whatever the newest two are, like, I've only read Hunger Games, Catching Fire, and Mockingjay before, so I think there's 2 or 3 new books that were released in the past few years, so I want to go read those. So I'm going back to the originals for a refresher, and I'm so happy I chose to do that because it is so good. Yeah, I like listened to the last 30 minutes of the book at work yesterday while my manager was standing in the same room as me, and I was like trying not to like scream. And when I listen to a book or read a book, like, I am emoting, I am running around the room, I'm screaming, I'm talking to the characters as if they're right here next to me. Like, I could not do that, and I was like standing like, oh my god, don't make any reactions because there's another person in the room with you. But yeah, having a lot of fun with books lately. And yeah, so that is all for yarn and media review. I know everyone's talking about Heated Rivalry right now, but it's so good and I love it so much, so I had to put in my 2 cents. But yeah, next month I'm gonna be doing some gardening stuff, so I'll probably show you some garden updates next, I don't know if I said week, next month's podcast. But I've started some seeds, and today I went and stole some rosemary to propagate, because I haven't had success propagating rosemary in the past, but hopefully this time it works. That's what I meant to do. Yeah, I'm attempting to use honey as a rooting hormone, so we'll see how that turns out, and I'll let you know about that next month. But I hope you are chilling, staying warm in the last few months of winter. I know it's been pretty rainy and cold here, and it's supposed to be sunny tomorrow to do some gardening, but it's gonna be rainy. So hopefully you're staying cozy in the last few weeks, months, whatever it is for you, of winter, drinking your hot, cozy drinks and getting your knitting done. But yeah, thank you for watching. If you want to see more from me, my Instagram is in the description, and I post there more frequently about knitting stuff and pictures of my cat, who did not show up this time, but she's there. Know that she's been there the whole time. Yeah, and gonna keep up with these monthly podcasts, and like and subscribe if you want to see more.